Hi everyone, welcome back. In this tutorial, I will talk about two methods to blend images into one. If you watch till then, there's a bonus method, so chill out and have some fun. So let's begin. This will be the background image used to blend with another image. To avoid any changes in original image, I will create a duplicate layer by pressing Ctrl+J and give it a name like main layer. Click on the file menu and choose place embedded to bring the layer you wanted to blend with the main layer. So here I choose the silver image. To expand the image uniformly, press Alt and using the left click, try to stretch it. Try to play with the opacity, which make it easy to place in the area where you needed to place it. Now press enter or click on the right tick to fix it. Increase the opacity to max to see the image fully. Click on the add a layer mask to insert a layer mask. Then choose a brush or press B and choose the brush settings above. Choose opacity in the range of 30 to 50% and also choose a softer brush which will make the border more smooth. Flow can be kept same and smoothing in the range of 20 to 30%. After that you can press X, which will change the foreground and background color. If you keep black, it will reveal the overall background. And if you choose white, it will do the opposite by keeping the current layer visible and hide the background. Using the brush, start rubbing above the image and erase the unnecessary part which are not required. In this image, we only need the silver, not the road. So using this layer mask method, we can easily erase all the unnecessary part which will reveal the overall background. Let me speed up the overall process and go back to the final output. To match the overall color of the silver with background, we need to use some additional option. We'll start with color balance first by clicking on the adjustment option in the layers panel. It mainly consists of three things. Let's start with midtones, which make image not very dark or light. Also, to make effect only on the silver image, we'll use clipping mask by right click on the layer and choose it. Now for the second part, we can choose shadows, which give more darker appearance. By adjusting the colors, we can make it more darker and blend with the background. The last option is highlight. It mainly gives a more brighter appearance or opposite to the shadows. Same here, we'll adjust the colors to blend with the background. As blended image look more bright out, we'll try to lower it down by using exposure layer from the adjustment options. It has a 3 slider option. First one is exposure, where if we move the slider right, it will increase the brightness, and if we move left, it will add the darkness. There is another slider called offset slider, which is like a grainy adjustment, and it works same like exposure but in small increment. The last one is called gamma slider, which works completely opposite to the offset slider. It basically used to give the image more middle ground, not too dark, not too light. Also from the adjustment option, choose curves. Basically curves give more of a kind of a contrast control. So you basically need to choose some points in the linear line, and basically if you alter that line, you can able to adjust the contrast of overall image. Also, we will add a layer by clicking on the add a new layer from the layers panel, and we will use the clipping mask so that it only affects the silver part. After that we'll use a brush, or you can press B and try to give some sort of a black kind of a color so that it gives a more of a realistic look. And honestly, you need to try multiple kind of a method, so it depends on your own perspective. And also after that you can choose the blending options, like whether you want soft light or overlay. So I just played over some of the options and I choose the soft light, and then I try to play with opacity and the fill so that it gives me more of a realistic look, and that overall silver matches with the final output. Again, I will go to the silver layer image and I will choose the layer mask, and I use a brush and also like play with this opacity, fill and smoothing, and try to hide the silver part and to reveal the background. So this is a very kind of a repetitive method you can use sometimes so that your image look more realistic. And after doing so, I thought let's add some sort of a brightness to the overall image, not a particular like a layer. So I go to the adjustment option and choose the brightness. Here it's a very simple, it's only two options, one is brightness, another one is contrast. So like you can play with it. So adding or decreasing or increasing the brightness or contrast, it will give a more lighter or a more darker effect. And after that I choose exposure, as I already told about the properties of those exposure. So I played some of the options like exposure, offset and gamma correction so that the overall picture look good, and I think I'm satisfied with it. So let's jump to second trick, which is gradient mask. As this technique says gradient, so we will use a gradient tool. Here are the two images which we will join. The left one will be joined over the right one. Just use left click and drag the left image on top of the right image and then release the left click. I try to move the image to desired place and try it here and there, and after that I press Ctrl+T to perform transformation. But before doing that I try to decrease the opacity of the image so that I can see which will be the exact place where these two images may meet, and by pressing shift key I just rotate the image and I found the sweet spot where these two images actually meet each other and were opposite to each other also. Now place it by pressing enter or click the right tick, increase the opacity to max percentage, choose the layer 1 and then click on the create new mask option and then click on the gradient tool or just simply press G, keep the foreground color black and then click on the layer mask and then go over to the image and just simply press left click and drag a line so that the background layer will be revealed, and you can see where these two images will actually meet at a certain point and stop this process there. Now choose a brush and keep always the foreground color black so that your background image reveal. And as we did earlier with the layer mask technique, you just need to rub all over the layer mask so that boundary become invisible and it looks like both images are same. They don't have any kind of a border in between them, and it looks become more kind of a realistic look. And you can play with opacity and fill and those smoothing effects so that the overall image looks more realistic, and as you can see it's looking much nicer and more real. To make image look more beautiful, we'll choose color balance from the adjustment option and place it above the layer 1 and then play around the midtones. Also we add some exposure layer from the adjustment option and place it above the background layer, and then we try to reduce the brightness a bit low. Add a color balance layer above the background layer, and then also we will play with the settings like midtone, shadow and highlights so that I'll get a kind of a uniform effect to the overall image. Then to the top there's a color balance layer below above the layer 1. Just right click on it, then choose clipping mask so that it only affects the layer 1, and then play with the settings like midtone, shadow and highlights and try to make the overall image more uniform in terms of color, and it should look like more of a realistic kind of image. If you stay this longer, then there will be a bonus technique for you guys which is called apply image method, and it's pretty simple than the rest of the other techniques which I have taught. I have already brought my background image layer. Then from the file menu, click on the place embedded option and choose the image which needed to be blended. Place it and drag it by pressing Alt and then press enter or right click. Then click on the building image and add a new layer mask option. Then go to the image option and then choose apply image. Here you can click on the layer and choose the building option and press OK, and then click on the layer mask, and by keeping foreground color black, you can use the brush tool or press B and play with the opacity, fill and smoothing, and try to rub across the image so that the ship and the sea appears to reveal. Also, we will play with the opacity and fill of the building layer so that its brightness did not overshadow the overall brightness of the image. And after doing that, we're thinking about making the background a bit more darker and warmer. So we'll choose the color balance from the adjustment option and try to play with the mid-tone shadows and highlights as we did earlier with these two methods like gradient and layer mask method. Also, we can achieve the Vigente effect not going to camera raw filter option. We can alternatively click on the rectangle tool, make a rectangle shape and keep the fill color remains null and choose a stroke of black, and also we can increase the width of the stroke a bit, like in the range of 10 to 12 or more than that. And then we can go to filter option, and from there we choose blur and then choose Gaussian blur and just convert it to a smart object so that it becomes a low layer, and just increase the Gaussian blur and see where your image looks like, gives the more Vigente effect. So we have covered the three techniques starting from layer mask till apply image method. I hope if you like the video, please like it, share and comment on the video. I will again come up with some full depth tutorial video and hope to see you everyone soon. Thanks, sayonara and gracias.